Continuem el congrés amb Vaibhav Gupta. Vaibhav és desenvolupador de codi obert i expert en firmware al projecte RTEMS.
RTEMS és un sistema operatiu de codi lliure que aporta funcionalitats a naus espacials.
Hello everyone. I hope you all are having a nice day, enjoying the lockdown and okay. So here I'm going to talk about RTMS, an open source operating system empowering space engines. So RTMS, it is a real-time executive for multiprocessor systems. Earlier, it was known by the name real-time executive for missile systems, because that was the main idea. It was decided to make an open source kernel. So I don't know if everyone knows about real-time operating systems, but it is it is fairly different than a general purpose operating system, the systems which you use as your day-to-day laptops or computers. A real-time operating system is very strict about some constraints. It can be time. Most of the time it is the time, but there can be other constraints too, and it is very strict about it, right? So what is the mission of RTMS? RTMS, it is an umbrella project. It provides various solutions. It was, as I told, it was originally developed for the missile systems by the army, but later on, developers saw a huge potential in the space missions too. So it is being used by NASA. It is being used by European Space Agency, and there are multiple places where it is used by. Okay. So talking about standards now. We know general purpose operating systems, we know about POSIX, Linux, the Unix systems, and there is Microsoft Windows, there is Mac. So every operating systems or every system nowadays, we talk about standards, because that's what standard is something that unites, that unifies something. Because consider the situation. You are having lots many devices. You want to invent a new device. Okay, you are working with a new device, but if they are not standard, they don't follow a particular set of standards, then you don't know how you are going to use them or what type of driver you are going to write for them. And each and every time you are going to use a new driver or new device, you will have to write a new piece of code. So that's where the standards come into play. You define a particular standard, those devices or those particular things or softwares are going to follow that standard, and that's how the things are going to work. So similar way, the RTMS also is following many of the standards, but because, as I told, it is a real-time operating system, and it has many areas it is being used in. So that's why it follows not one but multiple standards, like POSIX standards. It follows the C99 and C11 language standard, the SCA profiles, the phase profiles. The phase profiles is used for aviation purpose. SCA is used for radio purpose. So you can read the full report here. The link is provided. Now support. Again, because it is a real-time operating system, it will be used, it is being used, and it was used in embedded devices. And there are many embedded devices now, because the era of general purpose is going. Now you have an embedded device in your pockets, on your hand, in the form of watch. Now even the smart headphones are there, smart routers are there. So everywhere now you are surrounded with embedded systems, and that's why you need something that can work on those processors, that can support those proper processors. So currently RTMS support 18 processors, and it has around 200 board support packages. These include ARM, PowerPC, and everything. Now, talking about the space missions, which is really exciting thing. RTMS, as I told you, that it is NASA and ESA, they have used in their space missions. Let's just take a small look. Like Baby Colombo, it was launched on October 2018, and recently there was an article published. Here's the link provided. So it is a joint mission by ESA and JAXA, Japan. It is in ISAT-2, Parker Solar Probe, like the NASA Solar Probe, which is supposed to go closest to the Sun, and MMS mission, and there are various other missions. This is also used in medical, networking, aircrafts. Now, my experience with RTMS. Uh, Basically, as a student, when I joined my college, I was not sure that what field I want to work upon, because when you do your bachelor's, yeah, that course is very general. You have just entered into the computer science domain, and you don't know what all things you want to do or what particular domain you want to pursue, because it is very wide field. If you go into computer science, there are a lot many fields. There is robotics, AI, ML, there is blockchain and app development. Many things are there. There are many fascinating things. But once I was sure that I want to go into kernel development, I want to learn about the software that function closest to the hardware, and because that area is really very exciting for me. It is what like triggers my curiosity. So I started learning about reading books about them and looking for the projects. But soon I got to know about open source projects. I turned to them and I was like exploring what are things that are happening around the world, what are the like open source projects or open source kernels. And this is how like my learning process was going on, and my seniors told me about this Google Summer of Code program. They told me how this works and the process. You all must be knowing about it. But again, the real challenge was for me to find a project that was of my particular interest and that was something into kernels or low level systems. So I kept on exploring, and fortunately, RTMS was there, and I was very happy because the project was of my interest. They bought the kernel, a real-time operating system is there, and the usage, like, as I told you, the missions, space missions, and other missions. So this project is was like a, you can say it is a bundle for me. So, uh, huh. So I kept on exploring, and it was around October when I started, October 2019, when I started contributing to the project, and I was asking questions to the maintainers. I would like to if you want to know my mentors, they were Joel Sherrill and Kida Bloom. They were secondary mentors, Hesham and Aditya. Maintainers are they are going to help you out around the projects. They are going to, if you have any doubts, they are going to help you out with the solutions. They may guide you or point you a particular thing that they are going to help with you. So, hello, yeah. Okay, I don't know my face. Okay. So that was that was a time I was still learning, and when I started exploring for RTMS projects, they have a first task. They call it as beginner task. You have to complete that task so that they can make sure, yes, you are ready for working on this particular open source kernel. You are ready to work with us. So, and my first contribution was actually in their documentation, because that is the part of open source project, any open source project. If you want to learn about an open source project and want to contribute in it, you must first try to run the project on your local system, and that's what I did. And I was working on it, following the documentation guide, and I noticed, yes, there is something missing in this package which I need to install. Otherwise, I won't be able to run this in the development mode. And that's what I reported to the maintainers, and they told me, just make a patch and we'll accept it. And that was my first patch in the RTMS, although non-technical, but yes, it was my first patch. These things continued. I was learning, asking questions, and soon I got to know about my project. It was POSIX. It was related to POSIX APIs. My task was to update the compliance status of RTMS. So as I told you, that RTMS is following many standards like POSIX, SCA, FACE, and because these are standards, they are going to be updated time to time, and so RTMs also have to stay compliant to them. And that's what my job was to, like, whatever new functions are there, new headers are there, I have to implement it in the RTMS itself. So that was my work, and I was exploring. I started contributing. Once I was selected as a student, I started contributing. I looked upon like many other open source kernels like FreeBSDs and other, to see how the thing is implemented in them, and same thing I can do in RTMS also. That was a wonderful year for me, and luckily because I was able to deal with the starting task, like setting up the environment for this particular project, for this POSIX API project. And there are many, you can say, some bit errors, or you can say there were some setbacks. And because of that, because I knew this process, and there was a possibility that this process is like these new setbacks and these errors could be faced by another new student. So that's why the blogs come into play. I wrote blogs and other tutorials. And after that, they made me a Google Summer of Code mentor this year for the same project, because for the same reason, because I knew the project around, and I could help out the student, and who made everything possible. So continuing to the Google Summer of Code, everything was like there were maintainers, as I already told you about them, and there were other developers and contributors. Because once you are contributing to an open source project, either through Google Summer of Code, or either through independent contributions, or either with like any other open source programs, the community is going to help you out with each and every step, like wherever you are going to lack, or wherever you are in confusion. So in my case also, there were many other developers, even the other my other students who were working in GSOC. So that is how the open source community work. Everyone makes it possible, and everyone helps out each other. Now, I want to mention some special students. Some special mentions are there in the GSOC and RTEMS team. These are the Hidayat Bloom, Hisham, Aman, and Vijay. Actually, this is quite inspirational, motivational, as these are the students who started as a Google Summer of Code student, and now they are the maintainers. Right. So this is a great journey for them. I also want to mention about our GCI student. He was a Google Summer of Code GCI winner in 2019, Marcel. So because as we all know, GCI ended in 2020. So this is our special mention. He was our last student with us, and he actually completed all the tasks. So that's what I guess. Keep happy coding, and thanks.